All right, everyone's starting to jump in now. Sean Cottle's hopping on. Sweet. Can you guys hear me okay? Sweet.
Yep,
Awesome. Oh, there's Ken.
I can hear you.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay, well, we'll get started. I'm recording this call. I am stoked about today. I know we're going to have a bunch of people joining in as I'm talking, but you guys have probably met Louie Hamner before. He's amazing. So today's going to be great. But I just want to remind everyone, well, I think everyone on here has already been to all the meetings, so I don't even have to explain this one. But you guys know the deal, right? Like we bring a lot of value, so we want to have you guys participate if needed. If Louis asks questions or wants you to chime in, please put in the chat, one or two in the chat or unmute yourself and answer questions if he has questions. But I like to start this off like we always do with some gratitude or wins. Who in here would like to share a win and tell us how great you are, something awesome that's going on, or I will unmute you and volunteer you here soon. So raise your hand or unmute yourself and share a win.
I'll start
Go
it,
ahead.
Lewis.
Sweet, Sean, jump in there, and then Ken can go next.
Okay, perfect. So I got yesterday, I went and met with a client up in Morgan, and I'm going to be listing an 8 acre building lot up there.
Ah, nice, man. You got it. Outstanding.
So anyone that has anyone that's wanting a piece of freaking amazing property, and it's like it's so picturesque up there. It's amazing. It's riverfront property. It's right on the
Oh, it's
river.
riverfront.
Uh-huh.
Okay, maybe
Yep.
I'll want a lot.
Yep, there you go. So, and then also, just 2 days ago, I listed, I have a short sale down in Saratoga Springs. And so, if anyone's wanting a pretty good deal, have any buyers down in Saratoga, this one's a really good deal.
Awesome, man. Well, great. Congratulations. I love to hear the wins. Ken, you want to go next?
Yeah, so I'll start with gratitude. Jody Zandel in St. George, I sent her referral, and she's doing a great job as far as I know. So I just wanted to thank her for that on a property in St. George that I wasn't able to handle. So
Good.
that's awesome. So appreciate that. I capped this week,
Awesome.
which is cool, and I'm in New York right now and still hitting my marketing and all that, and yeah, that's what I got. So.
Thanks, man. That's awesome.
Yep.
Congratulations.
So
Who else had a win?
Karen does.
Hey, go, Karen, go.
I'm jumping in.
Hey,
Um,
this is perfect.
Last week I had two closings on the same day, and the one closing was one of my highest. It was over 1.65. So
Heck yeah.
I was stoked, and it was my girlfriend's house in Mill Creek, and it was that house we went under contract in 48 hours and had five offers a month ago. So it was like crazy, but just so exciting. That was that open house. I had like 20 people coming in, 28 groups going, oh my gosh. And so that was so cool. And then I'm getting ready to list a condo up in Knollwood area in South Ogden up on the bench line. Tri-level home. Spent a lot of time getting it ready. So it's probably going to go live this weekend. Pictures are today. So I'm really
Awesome.
excited about this one. Yes. So
Wow.
10 people up here. Come
Congratulations.
up here. I love it. It's my neck of the woods. This is my neighborhood, you guys. So
I
you can
love
live
it.
by me.
Yeah, I love it. And I've heard so many good things about you. I think I told you my wife's uncle lives up by you, and he thinks you're the best. So Ralph
Well,
and Kathy, I don't know if you know Ralph and
yes.
Kathy. Yes,
Yes.
again, they think you're the best.
Thank you. I try every day, you guys.
Yeah. Congratulations. Anybody else have a win or a gratitude? We've got about 18 people jumping on. Oh, Emily, did you raise your hand? I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
So I feel like every transaction recently has been the most difficult transaction I've ever done. I've learned a lot in the last few transactions, but they're all like wrapping up and getting done. And two of them closed yesterday. And then we got our latest flip under contract that had the ADU. We got under contract last night with 3 offers. And so I feel like my head's above water and I'm gonna make it.
You're
So
not going to quit real estate anymore?
I'm not
That's
gonna quit real estate anymore. If you had asked me last week, I was ready for a third career, but
Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever said, this is it, I'm done with real estate. I'm surprised this isn't just blowing up because oh, there we go. There we go. That's what I thought. That's what's so great about this business is it definitely comes with polarity. There's times that I absolutely love this business, and there's times that I'm like, yep, this is it. It's either this or I'm gonna murder people. So I'm gonna leave the business. So um great. Well, we'll get started unless anybody else wants to share. Going once, going twice. All right. Here's what's crazy about this. This is why I brought Louie on. I actually was going to teach on something different, and I had a feeling to reach out to Louie because I think this is needed in our space right now. Put a 2 in the chat box if you felt some kind of anxiety, stress in the last like month or two. It's insane, right? This market has us all going crazy. We literally are going, I don't know about you guys, but I've been like, I don't even know if I know how to do real estate anymore. Like one house will just sell like crazy and get offers, then a house that I think's better, that's priced better, sits on the market for 90 days. I'm going, what in the world is going on? And I've said a lot in my life. You guys have heard me say higher the emotion, lower the intellect. I've had some pretty low intellect moments in the last few months. And Louie Hamner is basically a life coach for me. I don't pay him any money. I probably should, but he's the guy that I call when I'm like, hey, I'm about to lose it. I'm about to quit real estate. And then we have a conversation and he always calms me down or he calls me out and says I'm being a wuss or whatever. And it helps me become better. But he's got a pretty cool story where he owned a title company and he's had plenty of hard times in his life, but he literally grew his business to a point where he could sell it and become ultra successful. And the secret sauce he has is he makes great decisions from a great headspace by controlling his nervous system. And he learned this with breath work. And it started out as he went to an event and tried this breath work thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, Louie, but
You're mostly wrong. Go ahead.
Okay, all right, perfect. That's what I thought. But it basically changed his life, and then he thought, I'm going to do this more and more. And then tell us your story. What got you going?
Yeah, thanks, Lewis. I appreciate that. One, just so you know, everybody knows, like I like to give Lewis shit. So there's nothing, there's no like truth in what I'm saying when I give him shit, but it's just what we do. That's
yeah.
You know, we'll end a text chat and I'll say, see you later, ugly, or something like that. And he's like, all right.
Or he'll just send me a picture flipping me off. I'm like, perfect. Hey, what's up, dog?
Yeah. So what Lewis was saying, I'll kind of give you some context. I sold my company in December of 2021. And that sell of that company, of my company was at a price and a situation that to me was unimaginable. And I remember when we did it, my wife was saying, I had no idea that this was possible. Like, anyway, it was just, and my point of bringing that up is that what Lewis said is that really, when I look at what happened, there was a lot of work that went into that. And there were critical decisions that were made along the way, probably, you know, just a few decisions that were made along the way. And especially in the last 4 years, that to me made that possible, that without those decisions that would have never have happened. And those decisions would never have happened without doing breath work, which is what I'm here to share with you today. And you know, real estate, I love that Lewis said, you know, how many of you like put a 2 in there in the chat if you thought you wanted to get out? And I think Darby put like 5 2s, which I think was the most honest question or answer, which was awesome. Just like all these 2s, because that has happened so many times in this business. And the reason why that happens in this business is because what we're doing is we're working with people with their greatest financial investment of their lifetime. And when we're working with people of the greatest financial, like you don't consider yourself an investment advisor, like, you know, like a certified financial planner, but what you do is 98% of everybody's net worth in America. Like what you do is you help them with an investment that ends up being 98% of their net worth. Or I'm saying 90% of their net worth, by far the majority of their net worth. And because you're doing that, and it's not just a house, like you're doing two things. They're helping them find the place where they're going to raise their family, where they're going to experience life. And I want you to think about that for a minute. Like our time is limited on this planet. And what you do is you help people decide where they're going to spend their existence and who their neighbors are and who their kids grow up with. And, you know, and honestly, if you help them, you know, you're the one responsible for getting them a home, and then that home has a backyard neighbor that has a dog that barks incessantly, which really is out of your control, like they will blame that on you. Like they will, because it will be so irritating that like they have a potential of blaming something on you that is not even your control, like necessarily. Does that make sense? So my point is that you're helping them invest, and that's why it's so volatile emotionally, is that I've been in this business since 2003, and there were so many times I'm like, I just want to quit. I am so done. And then 3 days later, I'm like, dude, I love this job. This job is amazing. I got a brand new client. They're going to kill it. Like, and my wife is like, you're either bipolar or you're crazy. And I'm like, I think both. I think real estate makes you both. But my point is that it is very stressful. And when you engage with people and how you engage with them, you're engaging with them in a situation where every conversation that you have with them is high emotion, high stakes, and there's opposing opinions. That when you're talking to them, they're questioning. Like, I don't care how good they think you are. They might be listening to Lewis or, you know, very confident in saying it. And then the person's thinking, I don't know if what he's saying is really true. Like, I have to think about that. And now you're in this moment, even though you are the expert and you are the professional, you're in this moment, it escalates your emotional state because now you're having to overcome those objections or those beliefs and those thoughts. And so my point of saying all of that is your job is very stressful. I kind of look at it as like your job is almost like as stressful as like a police officer. Your life isn't threatened, but emotionally you're up and down, potentially because of what's happening in your job. Like, and just one more example. And I remember one time I had a client, or this buyer was saying they shouldn't pay something with the real estate agent, the fee, whatever it was with the real estate agent. And they said they didn't do a very good job. I shouldn't have to pay this fee, yada, yada, yada. This person happened to be an engineer. And I asked him, I said, let me ask you something. Have you ever worked on a project for your boss as an engineer? And your project looks at it and goes, this isn't going to work. You need to redo this. And he goes, yeah. And I said, and did your boss ask you for the 2 weeks pay back because you spent 2 weeks on it and it didn't work out? Did he say, I want you to refund the 2 weeks that I paid you working on this because it didn't work? He goes, no. I said, well, that's what you're asking this guy to do. And he's like, shit. All right, dude. All right, man. Like, nobody's ever explained that to me. Like, that makes sense. Okay. And I said, like, even if he did make a mistake, even if it was an error, like, this is what happens. Like, things happen and we just deal with it. And anyway.
Can I say something on that?
Yeah. But I'm saying that's why your job is so stressful, because everything is always on the line. Not only are you engaged in these critical conversations all day, but your whole paycheck is on the line all day.
Yep.
It's awful. Go ahead.
Yeah. And what I wanted to say is how many, put a one in the chat if you guys have had a client take advice from their uncle or their neighbor who bought a house 38 years ago, who thinks they know more than you. And for some reason, they're listening to their friend or their whoever. It's because they feel unsafe, right, Louie? They feel unsafe and they're uncertain, even though you're telling them all this stuff. They're like, I don't know. Does Lewis
Yeah.
really know what he's talking about? Because my uncle Joe over there said that Lewis is an idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that's right. So it put you back into the state. My point of saying all that is your job, there's a lot of stress and a lot of pressure. Even when things are going well, it's still, the pressure doesn't let go. You just have one less thing to worry about. Like, the deal's going to close. Like what Emily said, all these deals are, they're so hard. So that pressure lets go. This is what you're dealing with. Now, why I wanted to spend that much time talking about it is because what's happening is that your nervous system, you have 12 systems in your body, like your digestive system, your adrenal system, like you have 12 systems in your body, and your nervous system is the number one system that affects every other system, all other 11 systems in your body. If your nervous system is dysregulated, your hormones are off. And it's not that you need hormone therapy, it's just that your nervous system is dysregulated. And so now your adrenals and all of that aren't firing and functioning like they should. And you're putting a Band-Aid on something that doesn't need to be done because your nervous system is misfiring. Does this make sense? You guys following this? Yeah. So this is so paramount is because this is one of the things, if you were to look at the pillars of your business and say marketing, skill set, one of your skill sets must be nervous system regulation. Has to be a pillar. It has to be something that you think about. Well, just like you look at your bank account, you look at the leads, you look at all these things. It has to be something that you're checking in with yourself, and you're saying, "How do I feel?" And the main issue right now, I would say, especially in the market that we're in, is that your dysregulated nervous system feels normal. So dysregulation feels normal, and it shouldn't. And when dysregulation feels normal, the symptoms are impatience. The symptoms are waking up at 3 a.m. The symptoms are you miss things, like you forgot the meeting, or somebody told you something like, dude, how did I miss that? You missed an exit driving down the freeway.
How about temper?
Yeah, temper. Like these things are indications, are symptoms that this nervous system is dysregulated. And when that's dysregulated, what happens is your body is in this constant state of fight or flight. And now you're in the state of what's called hypervigilance. And when you're in the state of hypervigilance, what happens is you'll have a peaceful moment. You'll have like 30 minutes of peace, and then you'll think, dude, something must be going wrong. I got to check my phone. And you grab your phone to something like, did they call me back? Oh yeah, they weren't going to call me till tomorrow. Like your mind starts looking for a problem. And if your mind starts looking for a problem that doesn't even exist, again, that's another symptom or sign of this hypervigilance where you can't totally reset. And when you can't totally reset, your body has a priority of where it will send power. And so your body will say, hey, in this fight or flight mode, we're going to let go of compassion. We're going to let go of the executive functioning. We're going to let go of these things. We're going to let go of these things because we're going to put all the power we have to staying awake, being vigilant, and making sure nothing is happening where I lose income or lose a client or lose a deal. And so,
isn't that,
you guys,
can I say one thing?
Just real quick, just as I've said those things, just type a 1 in the chat if that's something you recognize, you feel it with yourself. You're like, yeah, I understand that.
Louie, literally on this last vacation, about day 1.5, I'm like, finally relaxed. Boom, everything hits me. Oh crap, I got to call this person. I got to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's right. My wife would say, we'd go on a week vacation and she'd say, it takes you 3 days to actually be here. The first 3 days are hell. Like, put a 2 in the chat if your spouse says it takes you 2 or 3 days before you're present on vacation. If that's the case, that's how you know you're in this hypervigilance. and it shouldn't take you that long to get out of that. I'm not saying you should be in vacation mode in an hour, but the bottom line, it should never take you 3 days. But it takes you 3 days because you're retraining your mind to going, oh yeah, I don't have to worry about that right now. I think I can trust this person who's covering for me right now. And you're thinking those things. Okay, so that's perspective one. That's the first perspective of what you're dealing with. So the second thing that I want to put into your perspective and to add to this pool of thought is, I want you to think about what you are, like when I say, what's your comfort zone? I want you to think about what are you comfortable doing and what are you comfortable not doing? What are you not comfortable doing? Meaning, if someone said, like on this chat, or on this call today, when Louis says, hey, you're going to have to participate today, there's some of you that thought, I kind of don't want to. Like, I just don't feel comfortable saying this in front of everybody. Like, if you want to put a 3 in the chat, like saying, I don't, like, yeah, I did kind of feel that little bit of hesitation. Like, I don't want to really talk today. Like, I just don't feel comfortable. Your comfort zone, you have a comfort zone around things that seem hard. And that comfort zone is built on the fact that your nervous system is in hypervigilance. And then your nervous system says, hey, anything extra that we don't have to really do, let's feel uncomfortable and make a comfort zone around all these things because we can't expend any extra energy on any of these other things because we got to protect ourselves. So here's the truth. Peter Levine wrote a book called Healing Trauma, and he's world-renowned trauma, like has a doctorate in trauma, like world-renowned of like dealing with trauma and understanding it. And here's how he explains it. Every unprocessed emotion, every high emotional state that you don't get to complete, right? And if you had a dad who said, stop crying or I'm going to give you something to cry about, and you're like, and you had to like stop crying, force it, you didn't get to complete that emotion. So every uncompleted emotion or state, that becomes what is called trauma. And trauma isn't like necessarily these big things, although those abuse and all that, although that's included. We're just talking about incomplete emotional states, because when you can't complete it, your brain says, hey, we weren't able to complete that, so we don't know what it looks like to be in that, so let's avoid that situation. So you hold that trauma in your body, somewhere in your body, and you now have built a comfort zone around that experience. Like if you had a bad experience on Zoom in the beginning, when it first came out, you're like, I just don't like Zoom. You didn't get to complete it and really sit with it and process it. And because of that, from now on, you have a limited comfort zone, and it doesn't include putting your camera on and interacting on Zoom. And now you just think that's your comfort zone. But what I can tell you what it is you've had an experience where something like this has made you uncomfortable and you didn't get to process the end of it. And now you don't like being on Zoom or having your camera or whatever. Follow me on this? So what happens is, as you build these things, you build a comfort zone, and that comfort zone then becomes your personality. And in Greek, I speak Greek and I've studied Greek. In Greek, the word personality means mask. So if I say, what's your personality type? I'm not asking you if you're a driver. What I say is, what's the mask? And what does that mask mean? It means, what mask did you have to wear to survive in the environment that you grew up in? Or to thrive in the environment you grew up in? You're like, well, I had to be a badass. I couldn't cry, and I had to be a hard worker. And if I wasn't a hard worker and didn't make straight A's, and I didn't do these things, that's what I had to wear. So what happens is, over time, all of these things build up, and that becomes your comfort zone and your personality, but it's not real. It's all perceived. And so you're having an interaction with a client today, and it reminds you of something that you experienced either a year ago, 2 years ago, or as a kid, or 5 years ago, wherever. And what happens is your mind remembers it and goes, oh my hell, this experience we had here is like this. And now you get into the state of what it was then, but not in the state now where you're in. So, and I can tell you this, and I'll just be honest with you. Like, when I was first married, I was very shy, very shy. We would go to a restaurant, and I was so poor as a kid. I never in my life, actually one time in my life, under the age of 18, I went to a restaurant where you actually paid a tip. We didn't have money. And that restaurant we went to, because I paid for take me and my dad to go. Anyway, when I was first married, we'd go out to dinner, even like Los Hermanos, a little Mexican restaurant. And I would tell my wife, like, can you order for us? Like, I don't want to order. Like, I'm just too shy. I don't want to talk to the waitress. Like, I don't want to talk to them. Like, I don't know how to say quesadilla or whatever it is, like, I don't want to do this. Just order for me. My wife would order for me when we were first married, just because I didn't like talking to new people. And why I didn't like talking to new people was something that I experienced as a kid. But it's still with me today. Like, it's still something that I have to literally, cognitively, like, kind of, I still have this tendency to do it. And just a few weeks ago, I was in Florida and I went to the gas station early in the morning. It was on Easter morning. I went to the gas station to get something, and the clerk, the attendant at the gas station says, "Happy Easter, good morning," or something like that. And I immediately go, "Why is she talking to me? Like, I don't want to have to talk to this lady." And then I just kind of smile. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like, that is so crazy." Like, and I'm in the business of sales and having to talk to people, but I recognized I just have to sit with it. And I just sat with it for a minute. I'm like, why do I always experience this? And I stood there with the refrigerator open, grabbing my Bang energy drink. And I was just sitting there. I just thought, okay, what is happening right now? And I kind of stood there like this and just closed my eyes. I'm like, when did I really experience it? And then I had this download of when I experienced it. And then I just thought through it and thought, oh my gosh, that wasn't what was happening. My 7-year-old brain couldn't comprehend what was happening, but what it thought was happening was not true. And I thought, oh my gosh, this lady isn't here to do that. Oh my gosh, I am 53 years old, and I'm nervous to talk to this gas attendant because she was so, "Hi, how are you? Happy Easter." So, outgoing. And I kind of sat there for a minute. I'm like, okay, this is it. Like, and I walk up there and I talked to her and had this great conversation. And when I got back, I told my wife, and she goes, "Wow, that is crazy." She goes, "You do, like, sometimes just freeze. You kind of get caught up." And why I froze in that moment is because I had been practicing sitting with emotions and sitting with things that I have felt throughout my lifetime uncomfortable with. And I thought, I am tired of being uncomfortable with these things. And when they show up, I really want to sit with them to figure it out. And literally since then, my interactions with strangers have been so different. And even to where my wife has noticed, and I'm like, just because I sat with the emotion and I completed it, and no longer, it's not a comfort zone for me anymore. Like, it doesn't have to be with it. Like, it's to talk to people like that is now within my comfort zone. Make sense? So I can send you a video. I'll send it to Lewis. He can share it with everybody, but I'll send you a video where Chase Hughes, this guy on YouTube I've been following for a couple of years, he kind of explains all of this, and it's a 32-minute video, and you need to watch it. But what happens is all of these unprocessed emotions are like debt that you're paying every day that you don't know that you're paying. And I just want you to imagine this for a minute. But if you had a auto withdrawal from your bank account that was paying a debt that you could not see on your bank statement, but it was subtracting $2,500 a month off your bank account, I just want you to notice, like, notice how that would stress you financially. And you're like, dude, I know I should have more money here. What the hell is happening? And you just never saw it. And when you think about, like, how would you feel emotionally? Like, well, you'd be upset. You'd be frustrated. You'd be worried if you couldn't pay your bills. You would start thinking, and you would create this hypervigilance, like, I must be missing something. And you're going back through line item, trying to find where you're missing it, and you can't figure it out. Well, that is what's happening to you emotionally. This unprocessed emotions that you experience, they are pulling energy from your nervous system. And when it's pulling energy from your nervous system says, hey, we don't have all this energy to do all that. And your spouse asks you to do something like, I can't do that today. I don't have the time or the mindset or the space. I cannot deal with that today. And if you can't deal with that today, it's because you're paying an emotional debt and your nervous system is aware of it, but you aren't. And what I found is that I found breathwork back in 2019. And a friend of mine told me to go to it. I went to it. And I thought, this is crazy. Like I've done breath work with Tony Robbins, but this was a different style of breath work. She's like, it's more involved. It's more this, it's more that. I had all this reluctancy to go to it. And I thought, this is crazy. But I thought, usually the stuff she says to go to is pretty good. Like, okay, I'll try it. And I thought, what do I got to lose? And I go and I experienced this breath work. And it just literally like pivoted me. It was, almost like a near-death experience. Like it changed it immediately, just like it woke me up. I thought, oh shit, like I have things. And the way that I felt afterwards, I felt so peaceful and strong. And I've never felt peaceful and strong. I always had to be like pumping myself up and being like, okay, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do this. And I just felt like totally collected and grounded, but very strong. Not over. My wife always says, your energy is kind of like, you got big energy sometimes. And but sometimes in this business, and you guys all know this, it's like, you got to keep that up because the minute you lose that momentum and then something big happens, you're like, oh shit. Like, and then Lewis calls me and cries and I tell him he's a baby, but you know what I'm talking about just by show of hands. Like, you know what I'm talking about when I'm saying this. You're like,
Louie, can I say one thing?
Up. Yeah, go ahead.
When I keep my energy up all day like that, and sometimes I give the best of me to strangers and everybody else, and then I'm an asshole to my family.
Yep.
Anyone else resonate with that? Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever been so you have to perform so much throughout the day on all these conversations and you need to meet everyone's expectations that you're a little short with everyone when you get home. You might be rude to your son or your kid or whatever. It's pretty frustrating.
Yeah. I remember one time I hired my daughter to be the receptionist for a while till she went to college, and she was with me on the way to work. We were driving into work, and I had to take a call from an angry seller out of state that was pissed. And anyway, the conversation, and it was pretty intense. And I get off the phone, and my daughter goes, Dad, and we pull in the parking lot, and she goes, Dad, like I'm just weak right now. Like literally, I'm weak. I go, what do you mean? She's like, Mom doesn't understand. Do you do this every day? I go, yeah. She goes, Dad, I don't think I can work today. Like, I was so stressed for that 40 minutes that you were on the phone with that guy. He was so mad. He was yelling at you. And then you yelled back, and then he calmed down. And then now you guys ended up friends at the end. But like, Dad, she's like, I'm just weak. She goes, I don't. And she literally she was shaking. She goes, I don't know if I can work today. I'm like, Zoe, you're going to have to work today. Like, we need somebody to answer the phone. She's like, my point is, you're used to it. And if your spouse was with you, hearing those conversations and feeling and understanding like that your whole, $15,000 commission, whatever's on the line, everything was happening and you're in this thing, your spouse oftentimes would be losing their mind. And just like Zoe going, oh my gosh, this is what you do. And I'm like, you just don't understand. I mean, we're like firefighters. I mean, Lewis gets that. Like literally, like you're putting these things out and you're dealing with this, and your emotional state is taking a toll. And that emotional state, when you don't process those emotions, it's aging you. And it can literally scientifically proved like it's aging you as bad as almost cigarettes would age you if you were a smoker.
I've had this Whoop thing on, and the days that I have what you're talking about, it says your stress is through the roof. So it's telling me my nervous system is fried. Yeah, that's right. So with all of that context, what I want to do is spend about 10 minutes. I want to do a breath work, just a 10-minute breathing practice here in this Zoom call.
I'm going to play some music. I'll explain to you how we do this breathing. We'll play some music, and you'll be doing this breathing pattern for about 10 minutes, 8 minutes. We'll do it probably 8 minutes. And then you're going to breathe for about 8 minutes, then we'll sit. So I'll tell you to stop breathing, that you can stop like actively pulling your breath. Then you're just going to sit in that present state for about 3 or 4 minutes. And then we'll come out and then we'll have some shares. But what I want you to do, I want you just to notice how you feel. So here's what I want everybody to do. In the chat, I want you to rate 3 things. Okay, number 1, you're going to rate gratitude. So you're going to rate on a 1 to 10 scale. Don't type this in yet. So you're going to type in 3 numbers. So you're going to rate your gratitude. Then number 2 is you're going to rate your power, meaning how powerful do you feel to make change in your life? How powerful do you feel to do the things that you need to do today? And then I want you to, the third thing you're going to rate 1 to 10 is how peaceful, like where's your emotional state right now? Like emotionally, where are you on a 1 to 10? 10 being, I'm at a very good emotional state. Like I feel very focused, centered, grounded. So again, number 1 is gratitude. Where are you 1 to 10? Number 2 is personal power, meaning how powerful do you feel to invoke change or to carry out your daily task? And number 3 is how grounded do you feel? Like how centered do you feel? Okay, so type in the chat 3 numbers, just 7, 3, 4, whatever it is. I want you to write your numbers in.
Jesse's on fire.
Kind of gotta wait. So, as everybody's typing this in, and Lewis, if you can just make sure, we just want to get everybody's, because I want you to, what we're going to do is after the breath work, you're going to type in, then you're going to type in those numbers again.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's
and
what
please participate in the breath work. I know if you're sitting in a doctor's office, you might look like a weirdo, but I mean, do what you can to participate. Yeah.
So here's what we're going to do. Here's the breathing practice that we're going to do. This breathing, the breathing style we're going to do is called rebirthing. And rebirthing is a continuous breathing. You're either always inhaling or exhaling, but you're doing it just at a normal breathing pace. You're not like you're doing it as you would normally breathe, but we take out the hesitation that you'd normally have at the top and the bottom of the breath. And it is through your belly. So you're not breathing through your chest. You're not going, it's really through your belly. And if I were to back up and do this, your belly should be going like this. Your belly should be coming out. So it's kind of helpful to put your hand on your belly in the beginning just to make sure you are breathing through your belly. So, and then you're going to breathe through your mouth. So it's just a forced inhale, and we're going to about 70% of your lung capacity. We're not going to 100. So just a nice slow breath. It's just going to sound like, and I'm over exaggerating the sound. You may not make that loud of a sound. I'm kind of making a sound so that you can hear it. So it's just a nice slow breathing, and you're just going to keep on breathing like this. You're either inhaling or exhaling. Eyes closed, feet flat on the ground. I would have one hand just kind of on your belly, and then the other hand on your lap or something. What's going to happen is in the first 3 minutes, your mouth will get really dry. It'll take about 3 minutes before your body recognizes that your mouth is dry, and then it'll start salivating. So you're going to have a tendency to want to maybe get a drink. You're like, oh, there's no way I'm going to do this. I need a drink. But just know that after about 3 minutes, your mouth will start to salivate. The second thing you're going to experience in the beginning is your mind's going to get really noisy. As you start doing this, you're like, what am I doing? This is ridiculous. Like, I'm sitting here, like, I don't even have my camera on. They're never going to know. This is bullcrap. Like, I'm not going to do this. And your mind's going to get really noisy, because what happens is when you breathe through your belly, like we're going to do through the rebirthing breathwork style, when you do that, what that does is it activates your parasympathetic system. And the purpose of your parasympathetic system is to regulate your nervous system, is to bring it in coherence with the current with what's needed. Because if you're in this hypervigilance and you're burning energy too fast, too much, you activate the parasympathetic system, and then it says, hey, we need to come back here. If you notice, cats and dogs yawn a lot, right? Cats and dogs yawn a lot because yawning for a mammal activates the parasympathetic system, and it decreases the burn rate of energy. So why cats and dogs yawn is because they know, hey, I got excited. The owner was here. We thought we were going to play ball. We're not going to play ball. They're leaving. Every time they go out the door, they're going to be gone for 2 hours. And so the dog will go, ugh, and it'll start yawning because it wants to save the energy for when you come back and you're going to play ball. So literally, the dog or the cat will just start yawning because it knows to regulate the energy so that it can do that. So yawning activates the parasympathetic system, and yawning is, I used to think when I would speak in groups that I would start speaking and then people would start yawning in the beginning, like when I would speak. And years ago, I used to think that yawning was like, I was boring. I'm like, dude, I thought that I'm pretty animated. Like I thought I was killing it. And all these people are yawning. What I've learned is their yawning is a sign that they felt safe and comfortable with me. So they started to yawn because they were very active. Because here's the deal. Your mind functions better in a very calm state. Marcus Aurelius said, the nearer man is to a calm mind, the closer he is to his real strength. And when your mind is calm, so fight or flight narrows tunnel vision. When you're activating your parasympathetic system, you start to yawn, it starts to widen your perception and your vision and your understanding. Here's a fun fact. The word repent, I speak Greek. The word repent doesn't mean like how it's used necessarily in a religious term. Like repent literally means it means you need to connect with your breath so that your perception can widen so that you can understand the error because you're missing the target. That's what it means. So repent literally means, if Louis and I were talking in Greek, I would say, Louis, you need to repent, dude. And then what I'm saying is, you're not understanding my perspective. You need to connect with your breath so that you can widen your perspective so you can understand what I'm saying, because you're not getting it. Louis connects with his breath and he's like, oh, dude, I was missing that one point. You were saying this. Okay, now I totally get what you're saying. So my point is, activating the parasympathetic system opens our mind up to new possibilities and new understandings that a fight or flight mind couldn't understand because we're just focused on the danger. Follow me? So you're going to notice in the first few minutes, you might yawn. Your mind gets really noisy. Like, this is ridiculous. I don't like the song. Like, as people hear me breathing, like, do I look stupid? You're going to have all these things. And what's happening is your ego is trying to stay relevant, and your unprocessed emotions are trying to stay relevant to keep you safe so that your ego can hold on to the things that you haven't processed so that you stick to the identity of that comfort zone. But that's not your real identity. Your real identity is found in a peaceful state. So your mind gets really noisy. You're going to feel some tingling in your fingertips and in your face. You might even experience in this short practice what we call tetany. And tetany is just a hardening of your muscles. Without you trying, your muscles may harden. So like if I was sitting here like this, I'll just put my hands out like this. If I was sitting here like this, my hand might curl up like this, or my arm just might go like this and just move on its own because I'm bringing in all this energy. And when my body has all this energy, that it'll say, hey, we have enough energy to heal something. Let's send it to the part of our body that needs to be healed because it's aging fast. And then that energy will get sent to somewhere in your body, and you'll experience this like just tetany, like this. Just know that tetany might feel uncomfortable. It's new to you, but don't resist it. Just whatever it does, allow it to do its thing, and just keep breathing. You're only going to breathe for 8 minutes, so it won't be that bad. So if you're going to breathe for 8 minutes, I will over-exaggerate the sound of the breath occasionally, or I might just say keep breathing so that you keep pacing as I'm watching you breathe. You're going to breathe for 8 minutes. I'll tell you, you can relax your breath. Then you're just going to relax your breath. You're going to sit for 2 or 3 minutes. And then we'll all come back. And then I want you to share your experiences. And then I want you to re-rate yourself. Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions?
Do you want them to turn their cameras on, as many people as possible, or no?
I would say, like, if you can, but do whatever you feel comfortable with in this moment. I don't want you to, I would rather you feel more comfortable in doing that than feeling uncomfortable than not, like, engaging at a higher level, if that makes sense. So,
and no one's going to look at you because they're going to be breathing with their eyes closed.
That's right. I'll even close my eyes. Just kidding. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna share my screen to this music, and then we'll. Oh, Louis, do I have rights to do that?
Yeah, I'm going to do it right now.
Okay.
Let's see. Sorry, I should have already done that.
Yeah, I thought
don't know
about
why. Share settings. I don't know why
Okay.
it's not.
Here, I can send a request. You should get a
Yeah.
request.
Got it.
Okay.
Let's make sure the music works too.
Yeah. So, okay, let me do this real quick. Also, go to more.
While you're doing that, we're going to share after this, if you guys felt like it was great, a time that we're going to have a breathwork session. And that's for like a full hour long. We're here for a couple hours because we get all set, and that's going to be exciting.
Yep. Yep.
And Louie's at his awesome studio in Bluffdale
Yeah.
behind him, which is just incredible.
Yeah. All right. So go ahead and close your eyes. Put one hand on your belly. Let's test the music though. Can you hear this?
I can't hear anything.
Yeah. Hang on.
Yep, I can hear.
Cool. Okay.
guys
Go ahead.
hear
Yep. Everybody here. Okay. Go ahead and close your eyes. Feet flat on the ground. Sit straight up in your chair. One hand on your belly. I'm going to change one hand on your belly, and then we're going to start breathing. So here we go. Go ahead and start pulling your breath. Nice slow inhale. Just relax, exhale. Nice slow inhale. Relax, exhale. Again, no hesitation at the top or the bottom. You're either inhaling or exhaling and letting the breath just fall out. Just want you to know that you're safe, you're whole, you're ready, and you have designed this experience to be in your life. You're here by choice, and you made a decision to be here. Just keep breathing. Nice slow inhale. Let the breath fall out. I'm only going to talk for about 30 more seconds so I can let you be in peace with this. But every decision you made has consequences, and the decision that you made to be here today was actually made years ago, or a week ago, or 5 weeks ago, or 2 years ago, or a month ago, but it wasn't made just recently. Your decision to be here was made when you decided to go somewhere, to meet somebody, to work somewhere, to introduce yourself to somebody, and that person introduced you to somebody else, and then it brought you here. Your life is by design, and you've designed everything to be in your life. Whether it feels easy or hard, you've wanted it there, and you brought it in. Just keep breathing, and I'll meet you on the other side of your breath. You're doing great. Keep pulling your breath. Just whenever you're ready, you can relax your breath and just sit in this moment. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. The feeling that you're feeling now, how you feel now, that's the feeling of safety. That's the feeling that your clients need to feel as you're talking to them. When your nervous system is regulated, it regulates their nervous system. And this is the feeling that you need to be in so that they feel and know your confidence and are assured that you're the person that is going to help them in their greatest financial decision. And something that's so important to them as to where they're going to live and who they're going to interact with and where their kids are going to grow up and who their friends will be. This, when people feel this feeling, they know that they're working with the right person because it's calming. It's powerful. And it tells them that everything's going to be okay, even when things look stormy. And when they can feel this in the beginning, when you meet with them and they decide to work with you, they'll remember this feeling. And it's where their confidence in you will originate, was from this feeling. So just whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. And I want you to put in the chat just your 3 numbers again. Gratitude, power, yeah. I just want you to notice the difference from what you entered before to where you entered now. That took 8 minutes. That took 8 minutes. This is what I found in 2019, this breathwork practice, and it would put me in this state. And then from this state, I would make my decisions. And then those decisions were not out of fear. They weren't out of scarcity. They were out of power and calmness of, even if this goes shitty, I'm going to be okay. I'm okay. Even if this doesn't go like I think it's going to go, I'm going to be okay. So let's get back to shares. I'd like to, let me see, I got to navigate this. I'm going to pause the music. Here we go. Go ahead. Anybody want to, I'd like to hear your thoughts, some shares.
I want to go.
Yeah, go. Yes.
So, Louie, when you're like really stressed out, like I even like just sitting and listening to you, I'm just a newer agent too, but I've done like, I feel like I've really like jumped in and like just taken it all. But like how you were saying, like I wake up at 3 o'clock thinking about like, is that lockbox on correctly? Or like the stupidest stuff, you know? And
Awesome.
I've gained a lot of weight since I've started, and I always feel very like anxious, you know, like everything's doom. Like I remember Lewis, you sent something that was like, what if it turns out okay? Like, so I listen to that and I try to tell myself, Des, what if it's going to be okay? Or I love how you just ended with like, even if it goes wrong, you're going to be okay, right? And I just feel like so at peace. So what I'm wondering is like when I'm doing all of that stuff, can I do that breath work for the 8 minutes or on your own?
100%. Yeah. 100%. You can do it on your own. 100%. You can access that anytime you want.
So anytime you're feeling that so stressed.
That's right. Anytime you're feeling that, like pause for a minute and just do that. And your mind, your conscious mind, your ego is going to say that's bullshit. Like, of course, if you just breathe for a minute, you're going to feel better, but it doesn't mean the situation's better. But it does, because the situation comes better when you're better. When you're stronger and better, now your power goes up. Those three numbers: gratitude, power, and then your emotional state where you are. Those go up. When those go up, you change the energy of what's happening in that situation. Like, anyway, I just have all these stories where we were going through this very stressful time, like so stressful. And I remember I went into the office and I just went in with this energy of like, and I was stressed out of my mind too. Like, let's not be, I'm not messing around with that. I was like losing sleep, but I thought I'm going to walk into the office. I'm going to be so present, so calm. I'm just going to act like it's somebody's birthday, just like, what's up? And then we're going to start addressing the issues, but I'm going to do it from a place of power and from a place of gratitude of like, these problems are like weight training, and these problems are emotional weight training. And I got on, and they're making my, it's like, and the universe, the coach, my universal coach is giving me making me find out what my max emotional weight is today, because I have to really get centered. And I remember walking in there and just going, what up, everybody? Like, we're going to kill it today. Today's going to be awesome. And I'm telling you, they were stressed out. Like, I thought if I did that, then I might get punched by somebody, And I walked in there and it just changed. And then everybody's like, oh my gosh. And their energy started changing. And then all of a sudden, literally an hour later, I remember it was Heather Johnson, Louis, where Heather came up to me. She's like, it's still shitty, but it feels better. She's like, I'm just so glad you're here. Like, this feels still shitty, but it's better. And it's because we're approaching it. And there was this, I think it's a Native American saying that I would just recite over and over, honestly. It says this: in the end, everything's going to be okay. So if it's not okay, it's not the end. And I'm just like, and I would just think it's not the end, because in the end, it's going to be okay. I'm like, I've made it this far. I've overcome every lawsuit. I've overcome every big deal where someone threatened me, or at this point in my career, I'm like, it's been 15 years. I've never been, and I just thought, even though I get this another lawsuit, I'm like, this isn't going to make or break my career. It hasn't for 15 years, and I'll be damned if this is going to be the one that's going to do it today. It's just not. Just that belief alone, then just approached it differently. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
I wonder if Sean wants to share. He brought, wow, that was amazing.
Yeah, no, that was just really good. That was honestly my first breath work I've ever done with Louie, and that was just I just feel just amazing. That was crazy. I never experienced that before. That was awesome. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Emily.
So I was talking about at the beginning when we were doing our wins, how I've had like a stressful last few weeks and last several deals, like really stressful. And so my husband, who has been in the business for 25 years, said to me and his son the other day, like when I was talking about all these stressful deals, he's like, yeah, it's nice that you now understand what I've been going through, but I lost a marriage because of it. Because him and we're a second marriage. He's like, you can kind of see how I couldn't maintain that. And I think, it was kind of like, yeah. And I was a nurse for 25 years, which you think would be more stressful than this. And there are more stressful situations, 100%, but this job is more stressful because I would go home from my shift and someone else took that on and I could decompress.
That's right.
And like, I knew it would be okay. I knew that my patients
right.
were in good hands, but this doesn't stop. It's all on you. And so I think that's the difference I've noticed, that I've needed more regulation with this because it's all on us.
Yeah,
We take it all.
That's right. I know we're at time. Are we sharp on the 11 o'clock hour?
No, is everyone okay if we just go a few more minutes over? Can you put a 1 in the chat if you're okay if we go for a few minutes? Because we want to invite you to a mastermind, or not a mastermind, a breathwork. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll have that. I want to just share a couple things, and we can go in detail when we meet again. But I want to just share a couple things. If I were to ask you this question, when was the last time you lost track of time doing something you loved?
I got chills.
You just lost track. You're like, oh my gosh, I was having so much fun doing this, I just forgot. So I know the answer to this question because you're in real estate. I remember when I discovered that for myself, I remember I just started crying because I just thought, I don't know what I like anymore. Nothing captivates my attention for very long. And I remember my kids would say, Dad, you want to play a board game? And I'm like, no, dude, like sit there and do that. I'm checking my phone. Like, they're like, Dad, just don't play. Like, I couldn't engage. And Emily said, you know, what your husband said, what Mike said, I lost a marriage because of it. I almost lost my marriage because of it. And I can tell you right now, if I didn't have breath work, I would have lost my marriage because I didn't know another way of self-regulating. And when you can't self-regulate, then you start building in bullshit in your marriage that's not real. And I remember I had a friend of mine said, dude, I know your wife very well. That sounds like two different people to me. What you're saying, and I know who she is. I'm like, F you, Ben. You know, like, you know, we were just trying to work through it. I wasn't like, I'm like, Ben, I need help. He's like, dude, I just can't imagine she'd do that. I'm like, dude, she's doing it. He's like, are you sure? And I remember when he said that, it just kind of called me out. I'm like, oh shit, dude, I'm making shit up. And don't tell my wife I said that. Just kidding. Because then she's right again, and then it pisses me. Just kidding. But like, I realized that. And so my point is, if it can cause you to lose a marriage, it can cause you to lose your real life. And now you feel like you don't have a life. Not a real one. A one where you find yourself getting captivated by enjoyment of things that you love to do. That's a real life.
Can I say something, Louie?
Yep.
I was a firefighter for 10 years and I liked to go to the fire station because it was less stressful. And there was ways I could release my stress by working out and doing stuff and hanging with the guys and drinking coffee and BS. And but when you said you know, when was the last time you lost track of time? It's crazy because I don't know if anyone else has felt this way, but I felt guilty going to the gym. Like, I don't have time for that. I need to do this. I need to do that. You know, I don't have time for myself. I don't have time for this. Kids asking if they can play. And, you know, feeling guilty in two different ways. Like, I'm not there for my kids and I'm also not there for my clients, you know. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, that hit me weird, but it takes a lot from you. This business takes a lot. That's all I'll just say.
Yeah. And when you have a hard time prioritizing what you need to do first in your business for the day, like if you have a hard time, like, oh, what should I do first? I don't know what to do. You're in hypervigilance because your nervous system says, none of that shit really matters. It just matters how you feel. Like, just protect all the shit so it doesn't hit this hard. And you're like, yeah, none of this seems, I can't prioritize it. I'll just wait till somebody calls me and then that's how I'll prioritize what I'm going to do. Wait till I get my ass chewed out on something like, hey, you haven't done this yet. Like, oh shit, probably should have done that first. If you can't prioritize and understand like what comes first, that's another symptom of hypervigilance. So I know we've said a lot today and I know where you're at and I know what you experience. And breath work is a pathway, not a pathway, not just a pathway, but it's something that you have access to every minute. You don't have to be any place special. But this style of breathing, not all breath work is the same, but this style of breathing can regulate that. And when that gets regulated, it changes you and you start making decisions from a different perspective, a different understanding. And, you know, and lastly, I want to just say one more thing and I'll wrap up, but people will say, you know, man, some of the people I know that did breath work, like once they really start doing it, they change their life. They did this, they start doing that. And they're like, they start, you know, anyway, they judge what that person was doing, but that person was only doing those things out of hypervigilance. And once they got out of hypervigilance, they're like, that's bullshit, that's bullshit, that's bullshit, that's bullshit, that's bullshit. I'm not doing these things anymore. And what happens is their comfort zone grew and they start becoming a real person, like who they really are. I noticed when I started doing breath work, like I started taking more time for myself. I thought, dude, I think I'm getting more lazy. Breath work is making me lazier. And it's just because I thought, no, I want to enjoy this more. It's not lazy. Being here, like what Lewis said, being, doing something that I love, like going to the gym or doing that's not laziness. That's life. That's how you enjoy life. And you build the energy and the emotional readiness to go tackle something hard again. The word leisure, another Greek word, doesn't mean relaxing. Leisure means what resets your body and causes it to learn and grow so that it can attack what it needs to moving forward. That's what leisure literally means. It means learning. It means school, learning and processing for your body. So when you can be, and you can be really active and lose track of time in your true leisure, which resets you emotionally, it prepares you to do your real job so that you can have the income for the real life that you want, not for the life that a dysregulated, hypervigilant nervous system tells you it is. It's the one that you have chosen and designed. So, anybody have any final questions before we wrap up?
I think everyone's in shock probably. What should we tell them when we're going to do a breath work?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so put a 2 in the chat if you guys be interested in doing like an hour-long session of breath work. We've done this before. It might be best. I don't know if it's better to do it at your awesome place that you're standing in Bluffdale right now, or in our office in West Haven.
I love that, Craig, what you just said. Breathwork is a pathway, an easement, or a right-of-way to the divine. Like, perfect. Like, it's a right-of-way easement to your soul, like, to what's really you.
100%.
Not the persona, not the mask.
We're going to do a breath work on the 23rd from 6 to 8 p.m. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to get an Eventbrite out. We'll put it in GroupMe in school and in the Facebook group and everything. And you guys can register for that. And I'll just cover the cost on it, Louie. And then
Okay.
we can, whoever wants to go to it, that would be great. Maybe we should put it in this. Should we ask now if they'd rather have it at the office?
Yeah,
in West
I mean,
Haven?
like, are we going to have, like, who really plans on attending on the 23rd at 6 p.m.? Like, if you really plan on attending, we want to know, is it better to do it up north or just to do it here?
Yeah, put 1 if you'd rather have it at in my office, in our office, or a 2 in Bluffdale. Either West Haven. Looks like mostly West Haven.
Yeah, so let's do it at your office. It's
cool.
great.
The other thing for those of you who want to be with our group and just come here and enjoy this moment for free, if you register, please come, because we can only fit about 18 to 20 people in our room. You see his awesome studio behind him. Louie does a breath work like once a week. Is that right, Louie?
About once a week.
Either at this amazing place that he's standing in that's just probably got more money and music than I have at my house. Like, it's amazing. Like, it's an amazing experience there. Or at your cabin sometimes as well, which is really cool. Yeah. But how do they find you if they want to come anytime they want? Like any week?
Just look me up on Instagram or
Facebook, Louie Hamner.
Yeah. Yep.
And you'll see his Sozo breath work, and that's where he invites people to the breath work. And what do you charge for your breath work?
It's $35 a person. I'm doing a session tonight here at 7 p.m. And if you're a first timer, then it's free. So anybody that wants to come here tonight, like 7 p.m., we can put the address, we can send that out, and then you can come here tonight for free. Cool. Yeah, I mean, let's just say if you're here, just come here tonight for free if you want to come at 7 p.m.
And then 6 to 8 on the 23rd. Sweet.
Yep.
We'll put that out there, and I think we can maybe fit 20 people max. So we'll have to cap it at 20. So cool. Well, thank you guys for being here. Put a 2 in the chat if you feel like, well, first of all, look at the address, take a picture of that or something like that if you want to go tonight. When does it start tonight, you said?
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Yeah, and it's going to be 2 hours, so it's from 7 to 9. And what you experienced just now, you would
10x it. It's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
you're gonna 10x it. Yeah, it's gonna. Yeah.
It's incredible. You might fly out of your body and meet people who've passed on, like I have multiple times. It's crazy. Put a 2 in the chat if this was added value to your life and you'd like to do more of this. Sweet. Awesome. Louie, you're the man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for all you do for us.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here, and I love that you guys are so in it. Honestly, because years ago, this was people. Even Lewis would say, "I don't do that hippie shit." And I'm like, "Lewis, it's not hippie shit."
The first thing I
Like,
said, I'm not
it's
doing
real-
this hippie shit. I'm a
like,
fireman.
Lewis,
I'm not doing
it's
this
real.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's real stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm just excited because this is what I want to do. I want to help people in our industry to find the life, to reintegrate the life, their real life, not the one that they've created under stress, the real one. I want you to find that and integrate that so that you can love what you do and enjoy what you do. So
Awesome. Okay, well, we'll wrap it up and I'll stop the recording and end it here, and I'll get that Eventbrite out to everybody and we'll make it happen. Thank you, Louie.
yep. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay. Have a good one, guys.